Hello everyone. Today I am going to discuss a poem, namely Good Morrow, written by John Donne. Now, John Donne belongs to the Elizabethan period, but he is the founder, the father figure of a literary group, namely Metaphysical School of Poetry. John Donne is supposed to be the obscene poet by the contemporary readers, and he was not read for long days. His popularity comes to the foreground when T.S. Eliot published an essay, namely the Metaphysical Poets, in 1921, and appreciated John Donne and his school of poetry profusely. After that, Donne is profusely read. Now, we should say something regarding the Metaphysical School of Poetry. The Metaphysical School of Poetry, as the very name signifies, deals with the things which is beyond physicality, which is based on abstract reasoning. And basically, it has some salient features, and the features are: number one, the sudden or dramatic beginning; number two, use of metaphysical conceits, or in another sense, far-fetched imagery; number three, metrical harshness; number four, amalgamation of different branches of knowledge; number five, learnedness; number six, concentration; number seven, the special field in the form of love. In fact, Donne has helped us to evaluate love in almost different light, and with the help of this love, Donne has been successful in constructing a new world of love, a microcosm, all-sufficient world of love. Now, John Donne, in this poem Good Morrow, deals with a special type of love. Now, what is the meaning of the title? The meaning of the title is bidding good morning. After waking from the sleep, we wish good morning to one another. In the same way, the lover and the beloved bid good morning to each other. But the difference is that they are not waking from this physical sleep or natural sleep. Actually, they consider, specifically, the speaker of the poem considers that both the lover and the beloved were as if in meaningless, absurd world before falling in actual love. Now, this is the very beginning of their natural life, of their meaningful life. That's why they consider the period before falling in love as the slumberness, one kind of comatose. Now, let's come to the poem line by line. I wander by my truth. Truth, means truth. Meaning the speaker of the poem speaks genuinely. He is being surprised. What thou and I did till you loved? Look at the question. The speaker, poet is being confused, is being surprised. What did they do before falling in love? Whatever they did was obviously meaningless thing, because he considers falling in love as the most valuable thing in their life. Now they realizes the difference. Were we not weaned till then? Weaned, you mean sucking the breast milk by the small babies. The speaker considers that they behaved as if they were small babies and as if they were in the lap of their respective mothers before falling into love, but sucked on country pleasures childishly. Meaning, pleasures can be derived from elsewhere excepting love, and pleasure can be derived from love. Now, Donne considers that pleasures derived out of anything else excepting love is meaningless, and the man is of course childish, or snorted we in the seven sleepers' den. This line bears an allusion, and it refers to the legendary story of the Roman Empire, namely Decius. It is believed that 7 Christian missionaries went to Christianize the Roman people, but Decius got angry and started to chase them. These 7 people hid themselves into a cave, and the mouth of that cave was shut. Naturally, being imprisoned, these people were almost for long 2 centuries into that cave, and when the Christianity spread all over the country, then came out of the den, and they saw the world as a new world. Here Donne considers that before falling in love, their status was like that of the 7 sleepers. Meaning, the 7 sleepers were in the den for long 2 centuries, and 2 centuries' time was completely meaningless to them. In the same way, Donne does not give any kind of valuation to the time before falling in love. It was so, yes, the poet and the beloved agree that it was like that of 7 sleepers' den. But this all pleasures fancies be. This meaning pleasure derived out of love. If compared, if the pleasures of love and pleasures of anything outside love, that the comparison will be almost ludicrous. It will be laughable matter. The comparison will not be justifiable. If ever any beauty I see, which I desired and got, it was but a dream of thee. On coming to the field of love, and on observing the beloved, and enjoying the beauty, enjoying the pleasure of love, the lover comes to the conclusion that unknowingly I dreamt of a lady, unknowingly I dreamt of a love, and I'm satisfied that I have fulfilled my dream by getting you and by having the chance of loving you. And now, good morrow to our waking souls. I have already told you that they are waking from the world of lovelessness to the world of love. And that's why they start their lives by bidding good morning to one another, which watch not one another out of fear. The couple is confident that they are genuine in their love. That's why the fear of separation, the anxiety of separation does not make them terrified. Meaning, they bear genuine love. For love, or love of other sides controls. Right? This love, this love between lover and the beloved forces the couple not to love anything else. They are so concentrating, they are so engaging in their love that they do not love anything else and makes on little room and everywhere. I have already told you that Dawn creates microcosm with the help of love. And the poet says that their love has made one room and which is all sufficient, meaning everything is available in this room. Let sea discoverers to new world have gone, and let maps to others worlds on worlds have shown. The sea discoverers should be informed that new land has been discovered so that they can explore, they can go to the sea voyage. And the mappers, meaning cartographers, should be informed that their maps should be changed क्योंकि new world has been invented. The world of love invented by Dawn, constructed by Dawn. Let us possess our world. Each hath one and is one. Yeah, the lover and the beloved possess two different worlds, but the worlds are very identical, meaning in a sense they belong to a single world. They both have sharing in the both worlds, meaning the both worlds have come to a single place, meaning it has been a complex world, better to say integrated world. My face in thine eye and thine in mine appears. Look at the closeness, look at the integrity, look at the nearness in between the lovers, lover and beloved. They have come so closed that the reflection of the lover's face falls on the eyes of the beloved and vice versa. And true plain hearts do in the faces rest. I have already told you that they are confident in the field of love. They are always genuine and they bear plain hearts. They are the votaries of love. That's why the poet says so. Where can we find two better hemispheres? We have the hemispheres, the North Pole, North and South. And we know geographically that the two sides of the hemisphere are somewhat subdued, somewhat. To be more frank, the hemisphere of the earth is not properly round, whereas the hemisphere of the Dawn's world is perfect, is completely round. Here the cynicism of Dawn, the poet of love, speaker of the poem is coming out. He hates, he underestimates the earthly hemisphere without sharp knot, without declining west. Actually, this west and east side of the earth, globe, are somewhat declined. But in Darn's hemisphere, we will never have any kind of decline. Whatever dye is not mixed equally. Very famous line. Whatever dye is not mixed equally, meaning it is the metaphor, it is the metaphysical conceits coming from chemistry. While making a compound, we use elements and we use the elements in proper proportion. If not, the compound will not be formed. In the same way, the relationship must be fixed, must be durable if the two candidates are of equal mind, equal heart, equal temperament, equal sentiment. Only then the relationship can be established. Otherwise, the relationship will be broken. That's why the poet says, whatever dies was not mixed equally. If your two loves be one, or thou and I love so alike, if they love each other with equal gusto, with equal weight, then their love can never die. That none do slacken, none can die. Meaning the relationship will be eternal. If the relationship is based upon, sameness, then the relationship will be fixed as the chemical compound whose elements are mixed equally. So, hope you have understood well. This is a very good poem. Thank you. Thank you very much.